One day, you wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep enough, but because your soul has been exhausted for years. You go to work, you pay the bills, you answer messages, you smile when people expect you to smile. But deep inside, something feels missing. And the scariest part is this: nothing is wrong enough to force you to change. That is how millions of people slowly lose themselves. Not in one dramatic moment, not in a tragic collapse, but quietly, patiently, through routines that slowly drain the life out of them. And then one day, somewhere in middle age, a terrifying thought appears. What if this is it? What if my life never becomes more than this? That question changes everything. Because deep down, most people are not afraid of hard work. They are afraid of wasting their entire lives becoming someone they never meant to be. And this is exactly what Jim Rohn tried to warn people about for decades. According to him, success is not something you chase. It is something you become. And the truth is, most people spend their lives trying to improve their circumstances while completely neglecting the person creating those circumstances. They want more money, without becoming more disciplined. They want peace, without learning how to quiet their own mind. They want respect, without becoming someone worthy of respecting. So years pass. The outside changes a little, but the inside remains exactly the same. That is why some people become wealthier but never happier. Why some people achieve success but still feel empty. Why some people reach middle age carrying everything they once dreamed of, yet still feel like something important is missing. Because at the end of the day, your life is not shaped by what you own. It is shaped by who you become. One of the saddest truths about adulthood is this: most people are not destroyed by huge failures. They are destroyed by tiny compromises repeated every day. Every time they say, "I'll start tomorrow." Every time they betray a promise they made to themselves. Every time they choose distraction instead of growth. None of these decisions feel dangerous in the moment. That is exactly why they are so dangerous. Life rarely collapses overnight. It erodes slowly, like water carving through stone, a little each day, almost invisible at first, until years later, you realize the damage is enormous. People lose confidence that way. They lose discipline that way. They lose hope that way. And eventually, they stop believing they can change. That is why Jim Rohn constantly emphasized one idea: your daily habits are creating your future whether you realize it or not. The books you read, the thoughts you repeat, the way you spend your evenings, the people you allow around your mind. These things seem small, but repeated long enough, they become your identity. At some point in life, people stop chasing excitement. They start craving peace. When we are young, we think happiness means achieving more money, more status, more recognition. But as people grow older, many begin to realize something deeper. Peace is the real luxury. A peaceful home, a quiet mind, a night of sleep without anxiety crushing your chest. Those things become priceless. Because life eventually teaches everyone the same lesson. Success means very little if you cannot sit alone with yourself in peace. And that realization changes a person. Suddenly, the goal is no longer to impress everyone. The goal becomes protecting your energy, protecting your time, protecting your soul from becoming bitter and exhausted. That is why some of the wisest people become quieter with age. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they finally understand what truly matters. One of the most dangerous things modern life does to people is keep them too distracted to think deeply about their own existence. People wake up and immediately grab their phones. They scroll endlessly, consume endlessly, compare endlessly. Meanwhile, years disappear, and very few people ever stop long enough to ask themselves, where's my life actually going? Not next week, not next year, but this entire life. Because if you continue your current habits for another 5 years, who will you become? That question is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Because most people already know the truth deep inside. They know they are living below their potential. They know they are postponing important dreams. They know they have spent too much time surviving, and not enough time truly living. Jim Rohn once said, "If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan." And that is exactly what happens to many people. They live according to pressure, according to expectations, according to fear, until one day, they no longer recognize themselves. Perhaps the hardest thing about adulthood is not making money. It is keeping hope alive. When people are young, they believe anything is possible. But after years of disappointments, responsibilities, financial pressure, heartbreak, and exhaustion, many slowly shrink themselves. They stop dreaming big, stop taking risks, stop believing they can reinvent their lives. And this is how people begin living half awake. Not dead, not alive, just existing. But Jim Rohn believed something powerful. It is never too late to rebuild yourself. A strong life does not appear overnight. It is built quietly, one decision at a time, one disciplined morning, one difficult conversation, one promise kept to yourself, 1 hour spent learning instead of escaping reality. That is how transformation happens, not through motivation, but through repeated acts of self-respect. Imagine dedicating just one focused hour every day to improving your life. 1 hour to learning, 1 hour to building a skill, 1 hour to strengthening your body, 1 hour to thinking deeply instead of numbing yourself with distraction. At first, it seems small, but after 1 year, you would have invested hundreds of hours into becoming stronger, wiser, calmer, and more capable. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because results appear slowly in the beginning. But life rewards repetition. A tree does not grow loudly, neither does character. Real growth happens in silence. During the mornings nobody sees. During the nights when you continue despite exhaustion. During the moments when you choose discipline instead of comfort. That is where identity is built. And one day, you begin noticing something strange. Your mind feels different. Your reactions change. Your standards rise. You are no longer the same person you used to be. Not because of one massive breakthrough, but because small decisions quietly transformed you over time. The extra pages you read, the workouts you almost skipped, the nights you resisted giving up, the moments you stayed consistent when nobody was watching. Those moments shaped you. And perhaps that is the most beautiful part of Jim Rohn's philosophy. He did not teach people to believe in magic. He taught people to believe in their ability to change themselves. You do not need to be extraordinary to rebuild your life. You just need to stop abandoning yourself every time life becomes difficult. There is a question many people avoid their entire lives. If I keep living exactly like this, who will I become in 10 years? That question should sit heavily in your chest, because time is moving whether you change or not. Your body is aging. Your parents are aging. Your opportunities are aging too. And eventually, one realization becomes impossible to escape. The greatest tragedy in life is not failure. It is becoming old without ever becoming the person you were capable of becoming. So if you are still listening to this right now, maybe life is giving you another chance. A chance to start over quietly, not with loud announcements, not with dramatic promises, but with small daily actions. Sleep a little earlier, read a little more, complain a little less, believe in yourself a little more. And slowly, your entire life begins to shift. Not instantly, but genuinely. And someday, you may look back at this season of your life with gratitude. Because this was the moment you finally stopped living on autopilot. This was the moment you finally decided to become who you were meant to be.